Are you one of the many who are still wondering what drove the U.S. Army to choose the SIG P320 over the iconic Glock 19 for its new standard issue sidearm? The choice by the Army wasn't simply about the technical specifications or accuracy. In an attempt shift towards innovation and versatility, but ended up becoming controversial. Glock, a brand synonymous with reliability and favored by law enforcement agencies worldwide, found itself unexpectedly outpaced. The SIG P320, with its groundbreaking design, presented a level of adaptability that aligns with the Army's evolving needs. But was it really a good choice? In this video, we'll uncover the real reason the U.S. Army chose SIG over Glock. We'll break down the reasons behind the U.S. Army's decision and why many people think it's an idiot move. Why replace the Beretta M9 in the first place? The M9 had been the go-to sidearm since the late 80s, but like all good things, it had to come to an end. The main reason? The M9s were just getting old and worn out. But the Army wasn't just looking for a new pistol, they wanted something that would outshine the M9 in every way. It had to be more effective, accurate, and reliable. Plus, they wanted one that wasn't tied down to a specific caliber and had a bunch of modular features. This way, they could customize the gun for different situations, fit various hand sizes, and even mount cool stuff like lasers and suppressors. Back in the early 2013, the Army was scoping out what was out there in terms of handgun technology and checking out the U.S. small arms industry. They had some pretty high standards, too. The new handgun had to be super accurate, hitting a 4-inch target from 50 meters away, and it needed to be ergonomic. It had to be comfortable and easy to use for all soldiers, regardless of size or strength. When it came to the cartridge, the Army was open-minded but had a clear benchmark. The new handgun had to pack a punch at least as good as their M882 9mm rounds. They were also interested in pistols that could handle more pressure without breaking a sweat. The new gun needed to be reliable, with a high round count between stoppages and failures and a long service life. The Army's request wasn't just about the gun itself, they wanted the whole package. The handgun, ammo, and all the necessary accessories. So it was either a two-gun solution, one full-size and one compact, or a one-size-fits-all pistol that could work in both scenarios. The gun makers that battled it out. When it came to finding the next big thing in military sidearms, the competition was fierce. 12 manufacturers from all over the globe threw their best pistols into the ring, all vying to become the U.S. Army's next go-to handgun. Wasn't just any contest. It was a $17 million showdown to find a worthy successor to the Beretta M9. 8 contenders from this global lineup made it to the final showdown in the competition. Which of them battled it out? Here's a quick list of SIG's competitors. Sphinx SDP Compact. Swiss-based Chris Group's Sphinx stepped up with their SDP Compact. It's a neat mix of metal and polymer inspired by the CZ75 and comes in both subcompact and compact sizes. What's cool? You can switch up the frame size with different inserts. Plus, it's got ambidextrous controls. While it's seen some action in law enforcement and military circles, it's not a common sight in the U.S. yet. STI Detonics STX. Detonics Defense teamed up with STI, known for their competition pistols, to bring the STX into the MHS mix. This pistol stood out with its totally metal chassis and serious modularity. It can handle 4 different barrel slide lanes and switch between full-size or compact grips, tailored to the Army's grip needs. The STX boasted a modular, striker-fired control kit for a consistent trigger pull. Despite its potential, the STX mysteriously bowed out of the competition. CZ P09 MHS. CZ stepped into the MHS arena with its P09 and P07. Designed for military toughness, the P09, a hit in practical shooting competitions, packs a punch with a 19+1 round capacity in 9mm. It sports a DAO trigger and a bobbed hammer. The compact P07 was also in the mix, both featuring swappable backstraps despite their manual safeties. They lacked true modularity in grips and frames. Ultimately, CZ decided not to officially enter the competition. Smith & Wesson M&P 9. Smith & Wesson's M&P 9, a favorite among law enforcement and competition shooters, brought its A-game to the MHS competition. This polymer-framed, striker-fired pistol is all about versatility with its fully ambidextrous design and Picatinny rail for cool add-ons. It's got an optional manual thumb safety and interchangeable backstraps to fit all sorts of hands. Despite its solid rep, the M&P 9 wasn't quite modular enough for the MHS, so Big Blue decided to step back from the competition. Beretta M9A3 and APX. Beretta entered the fray with their M9A3, an upgraded version of the familiar M9 and a cost-effective choice since it was parts compatible. But it seems the Army wasn't impressed and quickly dismissed it. Although the M9A3's DASA trigger was once a hit, this time around the Army opted for a more consistent trigger pull. Another strike against it? It didn't come in a compact version and lacked the modularity the Army was looking for. After the M9A3 didn't make the cut, Beretta bounced back with the APX, tailored specifically for the MHS competition. The striker-fired pistol stands out with its removable chassis and customizable frame housings. Plus, you don't need to pull the trigger to take it apart. A nice touch over the Glock. The APX comes with options like a manual safety and a loaded chamber indicator, and you can switch up the backstraps too. But despite ticking all the boxes for modularity and meeting MHS specs, the APX's biggest hurdle? It's a newbie, launched in 2016 with no field experience or official adoption yet. FN 509. FN stepped up to the MHS plate with their FN 509, an evolution of the FNS 9 Compact. This striker-fired contender ditches the manual safety and comes equipped with 3-dot luminescent sights. The external extractor doubles as a handy loaded chamber indicator. Its cold hammer-forged barrel and interchangeable backstraps make it versatile, while the textured grip ensures a solid hold. To top it off, both the slide stop and magazine release are ambidextrous, making it a strong player in the MHS game. But it didn't make it to the finals. Glock 19X. Glocks, with their stellar reputation since the 80s, were serious contenders in the MHS showdown. Known for reliability, they've been the go-to for militaries and law enforcement globally. The Glock 19, a compact powerhouse, boasts parts compatibility across variants and a solid track record. The latest models feature interchangeable backstraps, but they only slightly tweak the grip size. Despite its strength, the Glock 19X falls short in modularity, lacks a factory manual safety, and requires a trigger pull for disassembly, not ideal for all DoD personnel. How SIG snagged the contract. Glock was the name on everyone's lips during the M17 trials. Their Glock 19X is a beast of a gun, topping the charts in finish, grip, trigger, sights, you name it. But SIG wasn't just sitting on the sidelines. They came prepared with a tweaked P320 that matched the Glock 19X stride for stride in all those key areas. They added a reflex sight cut and a Picatinny rail that the U.S. military prefers over the European accessory rail on the Glock 19X. Plus, it was the trigger group, which SIG refers to as the FCU, or fire control unit that was serialized, not the frame. This meant almost any part of the P320 could be swapped with another P320, making it highly modular. SIG also smartly offered two sizes, the full-size variant that would become the M17 and the compact version that would later be designated the M18. Were both spot on, with the M17's longer barrel for accuracy and the M18's shorter one for more compact scenarios. But what was the kick to Gaston's nuts? The price tag. SIG came in a whopping $100 million cheaper than Glock. Considering the military's need to balance a huge budget with cost savings, SIG's lower bid was a major advantage. It's what turned the tables on Glock, what's usually the one underbidding competitors. When you've got a pistol that's neck and neck with the Glock 19X and cost way less, the choice is obvious. Well played, SIG. The aftermath of the U.S. Army's poor decision. The competition stirred up some controversy. The finalists, Glock and SIG, were supposed to go through a second phase of intense testing, including a 22,500-round endurance test. But SIG got the contract before these tests were done. Why? Because SIG seriously undercut their bid price. In a plot twist, Glock files a protest with the Government Accountability Office but gets shut down. Meanwhile, Steyr Arms from Austria jumps in accusing SIG of copying their design, but in 2020 the courts dismissed that claim. Unfortunately for SIG, many people think the U.S. Army made a terrible choice. Why? When Glock first hit the U.S., they got some side-eye for their polymer build and lack of manual safety. But they've got three internal safeties, including a trigger safety, a half-cocked striker system, and a firing pin safety. These work together to prevent accidental discharge. People ended up loving them. Now about the P320. It's got a firing pin safety lever that's similar to Glock's, but it doesn't have a trigger safety, making it easier to accidentally pull. SIG had to update this trigger after their customers discovered it could accidentally fire if dropped from a certain angle at a certain height. Just in the second half of 2023, there was this video of a cop's P320 going off while still holstered. It added more fuel to the fire for those calling the P320 a safety hazard. It's a mystery how a holstered P320 fired without its trigger being pulled or the gun being bumped. I personally think SIG should add a trigger safety to the P320 similar to Glock's, but they probably won't do that because if they do, it's like admitting their pistol has a design flaw. The myth of modularity and cost savings. Finally, let's talk about the P320's modularity and why it might not be the cost saver it appears to be. The U.S. has a unique law where the part of the gun with the serial number is legally considered the gun itself. For SIG, this is a big deal. Putting the serial number on the trigger group, which the government views as the frame and gun, allows them to play around with a modular design. Glock takes a different route. Their serial numbers are on the frame. To get around this, they came up with the Glock 19X, blending the bigger mag of the 17 with a shorter slide and barrel of the 19. It's a not-so-clever mix of capacity and maneuverability. But here's where I stand. Glock pistols are still more reliable and trustworthy, and SIG's system has another major downside that many people don't seem to realize. If you buy a Glock for $600 and get all three sizes, you'll pay a grand total of $1,800. A SIG costs about $650, but adding compact and subcompact frames will set you back another $700, totaling $1,350. You might think, hey, I'll save $450 with SIG. But not so fast. You'll only get one FCU for one soldier, no matter the frame, which means you only have a single pistol. Flip to Glock, and for that extra $450 you didn't save, you could arm 3 fighting men. That's literally more bang for your buck, don't you think? So, considering the P320's reliability issues and its illusion of being cost-effective, I gotta say, the military should have gone with Glock. And no, we're not Glock fanboys here. Just check out our anti-Glock videos for proof. We hate Gaston's complacency. But in this case, we think the military missed the mark picking SIG's pistol over Glock's. But what's your take? Is the SIG P320 the better choice, or does the Glock 19X have the upper hand? Drop your thoughts in the comments.